Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't realize 100 Thieves Academy called in a cleaving service because they wiped the floor with Evil Geniuses Prodigies. And Josh, you being, the eyes and ears to first witness to the murder of the scene, tell us, what the hell happened there?
Yo, that's the thing that I'm here for, Mark. We got so much going on. I was so excited to see what they did do, like all the big macro movements. I know I missed something, and that's why I'm here, man. What did I miss? There's a lot of cool things going on throughout this game.
Prussian, I think, has kind of the insight here. We were talking a little bit while the game was going on, and it really came down to that very first kill, the dive from Kenvi onto Aspect, and continuously attacking the blue buff for the rest of the game here, Prussian.
That's true. Something we talked about in the Champion Select is how DeMonte was going to utilize the Cinder pick. It's not a pick that I was a really big fan of, and I think a really big reason why a lot of teams aren't really utilizing this matchup across the regions is mostly because there is a very small window of opportunity for Cinder to punish the Orianna in the early game. And I think Kenvi did an amazing job at utilizing it against Aspect's Orianna. So after Aspect gets his Merc Treads, he becomes unkillable, but Kenvi was completely abusing him throughout the game.
Yeah, and I think something that you highlight there is attacking the blue buff away from EGP. Now, we saw Tomio actually win a lot of those smite fights where he was able to secure it and make sure it doesn't go on to Kenvi. But the important thing is, at your solo queue level, that doesn't matter a whole lot. But at this level, Aspect needs that mana in order to be able to be relevant in the side lanes. He needs to have it in order to wave clear. And so it just kind of builds upon itself, right? You start off where DeMonte is bullying. He's able to continue bullying because he just has infinite resources in ways that Aspect doesn't.
That's correct. He can't really use his W in the side lane. Aspect can't use his W in the side lane because it's just so expensive as far as mana consumption goes. So taking away that blue buff from Aspect really deprives Aspect of a really important wave clear move where since he's deprived of it, he can't clear the wave and he just gets dove on repeat.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about, Mark. I knew they were taking away the blue buff, but because I'm in the middle of the game, I don't have the wherewithal, like you guys do, to just go over the stuff and realize, like, all the little repercussions of everything that happens. Thank you, Pressure. That was sick.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that 100 Thieves Academy, when we mentioned how cohesive they were as a unit at the top of the day for this match, is so good at being able to do consistently time and time again. Whereas for Evil Geniuses Prodigies, they didn't really have a game plan to answer back against the fact that Aspect no longer had priority to give over to Tomio so that he could have agency in the game. There were some answers that he was able to get, but Prussian, you were calling him out during our, on the sidelines in our call, that whenever Tomio went to go try to answer back, the profit or the return of the trade was nowhere near the benefits that 100 Thieves were always getting.
That's true. And looking back from Scouting Grounds, just thinking about 100 Next and that class last year, it was absolute trademark. It was the spitting image. 3 of the 5 players obviously went to 100 Academy, Tenacity, Kenvi, and Poom. But Kenvi absolutely ran this game. Something that they were really good at last year was trading vertically across the map, and that really shone through this game. Anytime Tomio was trying to attack bottom lane, trying to attack top lane, what we would always see is Kenvi's on Rift Herald while Tomio's on bottom lane. Kenvi's on Dragon while Tomio's top lane. There feels like no good answer from Tomio, where the side of EGP, the side of 100 Academy know exactly what they have to do, and they're just going to get something on the other side of the map, and they're just consistently winning the entire game. It's win after win after win for 100 Academy.
For us here, we're going to get ready for Game 2 in just a moment. And unfortunately, we can't pull up the direct tweet, but Surdy immediately after Game 2, referenced that, all right, guys, it's time to unleash the LPL aggression, which is, an ongoing meme that, like, all right, this is where Evil Geniuses Prodigies are about to ramp up. They're about to level up. They're going to challenge, potentially, the meta, the standard picks. And that's something that Prussian, you were talking about earlier. Is like, hey, you know what? Evil Geniuses Prodigies might be one of those teams that they say, you know what? Forgo the Hecarim, forgo the Udyr. Let's put Tomio on one of his comfort picks, the Nidalee, or even the Kindred, and then make sure you have the composition necessary to facilitate a volatile pick like that.
That's true, but thinking about this game, a lot of those picks that Tommy likes to play usually require a lot of priority, something like Kindred, where that Kindred's going to get outcleared and Kindred needs pushing lanes in order to attack enemy camps so they can get those duels. But the issue is I really didn't see a lot of that LPL aggression this game. There were lanes that had options of getting priority, but the way that EGP were playing these lanes didn't necessarily allow them to get the priority. And I want to see EGP throw caution into the wind and really fight for that. I want to see them fight for priority to bring the fight to 100 Academy, as opposed to EGP's laners just sitting back and saying, all right, you're trading better than me. You can have the push and you can do whatever you want. I really want to see EGP strike back.
I want to jump off of that a little bit because it's such a stark difference what we were saying before Game 1 took off. When we saw the draft come out from EGP, we liked it. We said, this looks like a pretty standard draft. You take the game a little bit later. You don't necessarily need to fight early on in 100 Thieves. I think they identified the same thing here. And so now it sounds like we're all kind of pushing back against it. It's like, well, this was a good plan previously, but now that we've seen what version of 100 Thieves has come into play today, we have to go back to the drawing board. We have to say that this safer plan isn't going to work, and hopefully they're going to be able to make those adjustments, because that's a tough decision if we already said that we liked their first draft.
Only time will tell, gentlemen. And I do believe Draft 2 is on the horizon. I just want to get a quick double check from our producers to make sure where we are at when, referring to the players as... All right, so we're about a minute away before draft starts, and I kind of want to get any last thoughts from Josh before we will have to say goodbye to him, as me and Prussian will get some more alone time going through the draft phase of the second game. If we're going to be looking at this bot lane where, we saw the Samira in the first pick, it didn't get to pop off and be facilitated the way that EGP probably wanted it. How do they prevent 100 Thieves Academy dismantling them the way they did in Game 1?
I think part of it is the fact that they picked this Samira really early on, right? Samira is a cool pick. It's something that Shiro performs very well on throughout this entire season, but it is the kind of pick that reveals your hand relatively early. You now need to build around the Samira, and it kind of meant that the rest of their picks and their 4th and 5th picks on the blue side needed to be in response to this, whereas Samira, instead, I really want to see it come out a little bit later on when you know what their support is, when you know what the top lane matchup is, and you can say, hey, Samira is a champion here. I'm going to pop off on it, and I'm going to take this game into my hands and carry it.
All right. Well, Josh, thank you so much for your time joining me and Prussian on the desk. We're going to say goodbye to you as we get ready for the draft phase here of Game 2. Now, Prussian, as going kind of piggybacking off of what Josh said, we even mentioned it ourselves, seeing that draft come out, the Samira being locked in on the second round after the Hecarim. We were both like, oh, that's really early. Now you can really formulate a game plan from 100 Thieves Academy, which, it wasn't necessarily the plan that you would have been completely comfortable with, but they executed it well, and that's all that matters.
That's very correct. Honestly, I would have liked to see maybe the Gragas flex towards the support position to counter the Rel, but other than that, I was really high on EGP's drafts. The issue all came down to the execution. 100 Academy, and specifically Kenvi, absolutely ran the early game, and he made great use of his laner's priority, and that's something that throughout Kenvi's career, I thought he's always been fantastic at. Just thinking about Copy on 100 Next, another laner that really played for mid lane priority, and Kenvi ran the map with it.
I mean, yeah, Juhan, a.k.a. Copy's already chilling on Cloud9 Academy over in the winners bracket. They're going to be taking their matchup against No Org later this week on the 22nd. We'll have to see if 100 Thieves Academy can get a little reunion with one of their former players and their classmates, as we do have the draft on the horizon for you, ladies and gentlemen, for Evil Geniuses Prodigies. Like Serdi tweeted out, it is time for the LPL aggression to come out. This is where, supposedly, maybe Tomio will be unlocked and enabled. In order to see that in the draft phase, we're going to have to see some changes. Remember, Tom Kench and Thresh were the first 2 bans for EGP. 100 Thieves Academy, they have no means necessary or any reason to change up the bans since they won Game 1.
That's true. And we're looking at the same bans, and honestly, if we're going to opt in the same drafts, I'm going to lose it, Rafa. I really am...
Salty run back, baby!
There is no world where I want to see another game of Hecarim Udyr when I think EGP absolutely have to do something different and bring something different to the table in order to beat 100 Academy. They have to knock Kenvi off his feet with something surprising. there's either side of Hecarim Udyr. I don't think Tomio's going to do anything.
Yeah, they've already done the same 3 bans: Thresh, Tahm Kench, and Renekton. Now, if the salty run back begins, okay, well, the countdown has begun, Prussian.
Please, man.
100 Thieves Academy, they see the Hecarim's like, all right, well, we can just go with Kaiserel once again, right? There's no reason to change anything.
I wish I could say anything, but I mean, it's like my life is flashing before my eyes.
I can see the nerves starting to pop out of your forehead, Prussian. Now, the last time they did pick the Samira and the Orianna this time around, I don't think they're going to run their AD carry this early on. No way, man. Okay, so they're going to go for the Alistar this time around. And
redo draft.
Prussian is molding, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, my Lord. You're really going to do it.
Well,
all right, it's fine.
I mean, 100 Thieves Academy, they have no means to change the draft, right? Now, as an analyst, for yourself, if you're in the draft seat right now for 100 Thieves Academy, what are you saying? It's like, okay, well, last time we took away Nocturne, and I believe it was the Victor. Any reason to change things up right here?
No. I think we're pretty good here. I'm expecting maybe an Orianna on 4 from Damonte. Maybe he'll just blind the Syndra. That'd be a bit of an ego pick, but I mean, why not? Thinking a little bit, I feel like Nocturne on 4 would actually be quite good for 100 Academy. It would be a really good mid-top flex, but maybe they're just not practice on it.
Prussian, I would love for a Nocturne to come in, but it is already banned as well as the Azir.
That's to what I'm referring.
It's okay. The overlay is slightly dark, and Nocturne does turn out the lights, so it might be a little difficult to see on the screen. But Orianna has been taken away by Evil Genius's Prodigies as well as the Sylas, and so that does leave up the Victor here for Damonte.
I'm interested in seeing what Aspect's going to pull out here. Most of the mid laners are just completely off the board. Maybe something like Seraphine into this low range composition from 100 Academy. But other than that, I'm kind of at a blank. It might be something completely different from Aspect, which I would be looking forward to. But it has to be something magic damage because, okay. We're playing this game.
Aspect saw Damonte pop off with the Syndra, and it's like, all right, well, let me get a crack at it this time around. But, remember, that did stem off of the fact that Kenvi was able to facilitate Damonte in the early laning phase with that first blood dive. If Tomio is able to unlock that LPL aggression, as Surdy was referring to in his tweet, the Wukong could also
pick Wukong.
Okay, tell me about this, Prussian.
Well, during Scouting Ground circuit, Wukong was a very prominent pick. Volibear, a really good answer into it. I don't really like Volibear top lane right now. I feel like there's other answers, but I feel like Tenacity is way too high on himself to just lock in something like Malphite or a tank that's usually quite good into Wukong. So, we're going to meet metal with metal here, and we're just going to pick Volibear into Wukong. And I quite like that, actually. You got double bear synergy from 100 Academy. So I'm kind of feeling this draft.
Check this out, Prussian. Something that me, Cubby, and Smacks have all kind of came up with is when you have Volibear and Udyr on the same team, it's the Berenstain Bears coming into play. Yeah. I think Cubby would always refer to one as Papa Bear and Brother Bear. I don't know which is which, or I don't remember in particular, but, we've got Animal Planet on the top side of the map, 2 bears versus a monkey and a horse centaur thing,
Something I'm thinking about is how is the Samira really going to get her ult off? Because you have Victor ult cancel, you have Rel has a few cancels, you have Kenvi can just walk up, slap you, Tenacity, he has his Q. I feel like this is a really hard Samira game, and I mean, even something like Hecarim, you're just running into a Volibear, a Victor, an Udyr. It feels very difficult for EGP to be able to capitalize on their composition.
Yeah, there's definitely so many easy ways for 100 Thieves Academy to stop Shiro from ever popping off the Infernal Trigger, right? So it's going to be, once again, difficult for Evil Genius's Prodigies to get this composition off the map, but we do have Chilling Walk and Joshi on the side getting ready to take it to Game 2.
Let's see it.
All right, much appreciated, Mark. Josh, welcome back. I know you took had some fun on the desk. And I know that the desk brought that, said this was insulting, but run back. I got to be honest, Josh, this is a MSG run back because we'll have to see if they can kind of get the sauce in. Got to get some flavor. We know that MSG is better than salt, guys. Let's make that clear, okay?
Yeah, let's be honest, guys. You don't have an allergic reaction. It is actually a neurotransmitter, but we'll get back into that a little bit later on because we do got a pretty interesting draft coming out from EGP, and I must admit, I echo some of the frustrations that Mark and Prussian had in that entire drafting phase. This looks very similar. We talked about how we weren't a big fan of the early Samira pick because it needs to have teams built around it. You're showing your hand really early. EGP committed to some kind of dive composition basically right off the bat. And while they have some dive tools, it gives 100 Thieves a lot of time in order to build some counter dive. We might already just see a 2v2 just straight up.
All right. Boom and Mist throwing some jabs at each other. Mist taking, of course, some more heat at the back end. But regardless, I gotta add that sentiment too. But I will say I do have some faith on the EG Prodigy side. I think that they're playing the way they can. Mist, I don't know if you want to face check that bush, brother. Back off, take the ignite, and now I'm a little bit worried for EG Prodigy's bot lane.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit worried considering we're seeing the same jungle paths come out from EGP as well, right? You see
MSG.
both Udyr and Hecarim up on the top side, going to be running down towards the bottom side. I think there's a little bit more vision coming out from both of them. You see wards on both sets of Raptors, but you aren't required to go into the exact same route, and we'll see if Kenvi, if after full clearing, wants to make a similar play onto Aspect. He doesn't have the same kind of crowd control coming out from Demonte.
Yeah, in this game, we probably won't be seeing these kind of early dives of what Kenvi throw out. So more or less more of a calm kind of game plan so far. I will say though, hopefully we get to see Tomio kind of thrive and have a little bit more of that breathing room that we want to see in game one, so we can look for more of that early action. Hopefully Aspect can open up Tomio so he can actually operate. Kevy's legit doing the same thing. I mean, instead of diving in, he's kind of just going to the bottom side.
Well, look at this. He's not clearing any of his bottom side camps. There's no way Tomio knows he's here.
And Kenvi has that smite online too. No idea.
Okay, smite fight. Tomio doesn't even know he's smite fighing.
That's a heist! Oh! That's a heist! Living up to 100 Thieves' name. You're going to whack Tomio away too and push him out of the jungle. Supports are coming in from the bottom lane, but Kenvi, he is living up to 100 Thieves' name.
Look at this. Kenvi is only sitting on 15 CS. He knew what kind of pathing Tomio was going to go for. He skipped one of the small Krugs up on the top side so that he could be here on time. These are like 100 Thieves. I don't know who's making their early game playbooks, but they are doing a fantastic job, right? You throw the right hook, it's a feint, you throw the left hook, and then you're actually just going to go for the uppercut because they have no idea what's going on with all these mix-ups.
That's an adaptation right there, Josh. Love it. Why not from 100 Thieves Academy? Kenvi, of course, in Tomio's mind. And that's what usually happens. We talk about optimal plays left and right, but, yo, if you know what they're going to be going for, you know what the path they're going to do, you can easily establish a counterattack, and Kenvi's definitely doing that. So, but I like game one, Josh. EGP. Tomio, mainly, is going to be a little bit on that back foot. Hopefully he can recover, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's not too far behind, right? He still is able to clear most of the rest of his camps. He's now going up on the opposite side of the map and getting some vision down. So, unlike in previous situations, there is a little bit of counterplay. And oh, he's just gonna. Is he not gonna take this? What is he gonna do?
He wants the bear.
It feels like a really weird timing.
Animal Planet indeed. Stanasi is trying to fight Surdy. Of course, we know that the bear wins this early matchup. Surdy got to be careful. Flash comes through. Tenacity is going to win it. A little bit too early, my man, from Surdy on the top side. Tomio, of course, takes on Tenacity, but Tenacity won that fair and square.
Oh, yeah. And this is a spot where we're going to see both top laners likely teleporting directly to lane. We definitely see Surdy. He's got to pick up all this experience. But Tenacity, yeah, he's going right back up there because he can't afford to just let Surdy freeze his wave up against him. So this is an opportunity. Both junglers on the top half of the map, they have a decent idea on where the other one is. So we might just get another fight.
How crazy that 100 Thieves just know where EG Prodigy is. Poom's in the mid lane. Of course, he scouts out Mist. Kenvi on the backup. Not going to look to jump in. Probably going to look to take these chicken nuggets for Kenvi himself. Unless they want a double cheeseburger on the side. But instead, no, they just want for the chicken nuggets. They want a good little happy meal for themselves.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So EGP already finding a little bit of counterplay, right? Tomio recognizes that he got a little screwed based on the initial pathing, goes and helps his top laner find a kill in that whole situation, but now this is the difference in jungle tracking that we're seeing coming out from Kenvi and Tomio. Tomio is resetting, and that's just an opportunity for 100 Thieves to pick up the dragon. And look at this. This is why Volibear is really good into the Wukong. You play at low health really aggressively, but Tenacity has both a big heal and a big execute coming out on his W, and unfortunately Wukong just not able to match it.
Even though Wukong has faster frames, fortunately that damage is going to hurt a lot more. You know, you can't be training blow for blow. You usually want to outframe that person. I'm Surdy, but we'll have to see if Surdy can come back. He does have a CS lead, though, which is going to be good in the long run, as long as he can just maintain that kind of state. But so far, we're back to more of a patient game outside of the one-on-one bloody fight on the top side. And Thieves, of course, taking that dragon as well, so they're still setting themselves up pretty good.
Yeah, we're actually seeing a bit of a slower pace coming out from 100 Thieves, and this is interesting, right? Because I feel like they actually have a better slow game this time around than the members of EG Prodigies. They gotta be looking for some of these early plays with the Wukong, because it doesn't necessarily have the same kind of late game impact. And Volibear, you know, it wants to play early on, but is happy to just be this big old health bar for the rest of your team, get some stuns down, and just be a nuisance in the middle of a lot of these team fights, whereas Wukong needs to be able to kill these members.
Well, it does go for 2v2, but Aspect gonna face check into Kenvi. Tomio is around the corner, is gonna go for a good scout of the week off of the ultimate. Kenvi is gonna be the one who takes down, and EG Prodigies find an optimal counterattack in the game too.
Yeah, there you go. Run, stun. Unfortunately, job's not done. You still got to get out of there this time around, and this is going to be giving over a lot of freedom to EGP. Yeah. And this is, you know, it looks kind of like game one in reverse. So it is a big situation where these teams, you know, I didn't think it was going to be such a blowout from 100 Thieves, which is why I was so impressed with game one. But EGP, they don't have as large of a lead as their opponents do, but they do have some real opportunities to get some plays, especially now that Tomio choose. Oh,
Kenvi!
Are he's still 2-0? He's still 2-0?
Yeah, but Kenvi took the red buff, dude. He took the red buff away from Tomio. That's unfortunate, man. Yo, Kenvi, actually a thief right now.
Wait, this is interesting. I didn't realize that Shiro like walked all the way up to mid lane.
I think they want to go for. They probably want to go for a Rift Herald play. They have opted for this a lot. The one thing that is a little bit scary though is that you know, you sometimes with the bot side priority, Shiro has to go back and pick up the wave. But take a look at top though. They want to tackle Surdy. Everyone's on top lane.
This is very tense, right? Mist is here. We're gonna go for a fight.
Well, Surdy wants to go in. Same thing with Mist. Same thing with everyone else. But Tenacity comes in with Stormbringer. That's not going to do it. As right now, Kenvi's going to be the one tackled down. The We Bears duo is not going to handle against Animal Planet, man.
You got too many coming through. You got the whole zoo from EGP coming out in this fight. Now, this is where they got to find some counterplay. Do they find anything? No. Pooh misses the W.
Shiro's also 6. But no, Shiro! Back off. Okay, he's okay. He's okay. Just take an Ignite. EG Prodigies, though, they are winning. That's a good thing, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. This is big, right? The team that is playing these early game compositions right now, they're the ones going for fights first. They're the ones finding opportunities, and Surdy picking up 2 kills off of that last fight. Suddenly had a small lead to play with, is massively far ahead. And I was worried, but Tenacity had this big ult come through, land on a whole bunch of people, because he bought a lot of time. Unfortunately, the damage from the Berenstain Bears just isn't there at this point. You don't have enough damage to come through against all these members. They're just too thick with extra Cs.
Extra C.
Yeah, extra Cs.
Extra C's, alright. How many C's is the question, Josh?
We'll find out. It's going to be... We got plenty of time left on the clock to figure out exactly how many Cs.
Alright, we'll see which one can get all that animal fodder in themselves and make sure they are looking plump as they tackle the rest. I think Surdy still losing that one-on-one, though. You know, and Tenacity's still winning it.
Yeah. I mean, stat check, right? You got a stat check champion against a stat check champion, and even though you got a couple of these kills, it doesn't change the fact that Tenacity has sustain built into his kit, and Surdy does not, right? It's just opportunities for Tenacity to kind of bully, get some free pushing, because he's able to do it without expending any mana, which can give him some priority, but we haven't seen a whole lot of play from Tenacity on the rest of the map just quite yet. So it's just kind of net neutral when all is said and done.
We'll say, though, even though Kenvi is down 0-2 right now, he's doing a good job on that farming game. Still out-farming Tomio by good amounts. But EG Prodigies, they're putting a lot of attention on this mid lane, man. They're pulling the Alley's gun right now, Josh.
That doesn't make any sense in this context, Will.
That's mid 3v3s, man. Come on. That's the context of chess.
What?
This is what it is in EG Prodigies, man. Come on.
Alec
you gotta work with
is
me
a
here.
rook, and a queen. That's not 3v3s.
That's the queen right there in the mid lane. You got the jungler and you got the support. I don't know what you're talking
Those
about,
aren't
man.
rooks, but we'll get back to that. We're seeing EGP trying to make another aggressive play.
Luger, tackle 2. Killer 6 away. Onslaught Shouse is going to whiff because Luger flashes away. So, EG Prodigy is going to be burning some resource from 100 Thieves. But let's get him that priority for the second Drake that's popping up. As Aspect and Demonte going to be duking it out for just a bit.
It is a pretty big resource trade, right? You lose the Onslaught of Shadows, but you get Luger's Flash and the Killer Instinct out of it. And now EGP first to the punch on this Dragon, but are they going to be able to maintain their position? Tenacity's on his way first.
Kevy, you going to steal this again? Kevy, you going to steal this again? You're going to steal this again, Kevy! Why you got to be a dang thief right now as he takes the Dragon and we have another fight coming through? 100 Thieves, see if you can make it out. EG Prodigies, have to see if they can run away. Aspect gets taken away. Poom has to flash over the wall, but take a look at the pit. Shiro has to pop off. Unfortunately, the info trigger isn't going to work out. 100 Thieves. You steal so many red buffs. You steal that Dragon, Kevy, and now you're going to try and steal away EG Prodigies' last chance of coming in game 2? Come on, bro.
Yeah, we asked what the Samira was going to do at the beginning of the game, Will. How is it going to get its ultimates off? And we see it doesn't get to have a whole lot of play in this game. And the fact that 100 Thieves are now turning this game around after we spent so much time praising EGP for their early game aggression is a crazy turnaround. Just like, look at Shiro throughout that entire fight, right? We ask, how is it going to get his ults off? There are too many bits of crowd control. And of course, you know, Kenvy's got a pretty sick steal here, getting the second smite because, you know, it's tough, right? You have to try and metagame your opponent over and over. But Shiro has to get out, comes back in, gets a little bit of damage down, and he just ends up having to use his ultimate more for survivability than anything else because there's so much crowd control. He doesn't have any other way to get out because he uses Flash to get over the wall in the first place. And at the end of the day, the Samira that they drafted so heavily around in both Game 1 and Game 2 falling a little bit flat.
Back to a neck and neck now, Josh. Gold lead, near similar. You know, kill lead, near similar. Only thing that's making up for 100 Thieves right now is those 2 Dragons on their end. Geoprodigy, of course, they're going to chop some win back for themselves and try and take this top out of turret. So they're going to back off and leave it as is with some standing gold.
Yeah. I mean, one thing we got to pay attention to, though, is where the CS differentials are. Pretty small in the top lane, pretty small in the mid lane, but the jungle and the AD carry both pretty heavily in favor of 100 Thieves. And while neither side has taken a full turret, the plate gold ends up kind of canceling out. There's 1 in the mid lane being picked up for 100 Thieves in Demonte versus Aspect, 2 in the bottom lane for 100 Thieves, and so the gold ends up coming in a bit net neutral when all is said and done once again. And so as we move later on to the game, we said EGP needed to be the ones to make some of these plays. They got the Wukong on their team. They had the Hecarim, who had 2 early kills. Fortunately, again, they're not able to find a whole lot further. They're not able to find a lot of these plays that we were saying they needed to, and this was a thing that we saw in Game 1 that is now in the second book of the series.
Good thing for EG Prodigy, though, is that in Game 1, in this game state, they weren't at the same pace as 100 Thieves. Knowing that 100 Thieves was just swinging right off the bat. In this game, I think EG Prodigies have a chance of making sure they can, you know, slug it out with 100 Thieves on the same level. But right now on the map, Josh, Dragon isn't going to come back up in 2 minutes. Baron, of course, isn't going to be up anywhere close. And so far, even that no turret's been taken, too. Just elongating that landing phase so that both these teams can just get some bananas.
Just get some bananas.
Yeah.
I guess 30 is in the game. It is fitting. But going back to the Dragon Point a little bit, right? You know, you got your team fight timer. A little less than 2 minutes left on that. The other big thing we got to pay attention to is the value of these mountain dragons. As Mist trying to find something on the Luger, but Luger does have the Killer Instinct available to get himself to relative safety. The mountain dragons are so big for the side of 100 Thieves that they are able to continue chaining these objectives. You look at Syndra, you look at Wukong, they gotta burst people up, they gotta get a kill and find that man advantage early on, or they will tend to fall behind in terms of consistent DPS, the members of 100 Thieves. And EGP gotta find plays between now and the 4th dragon of the game, or it might be too late.
Right now, though, 100 Thieves going to be flexing on EG Prodigies on the top side to see if they can get that second Rift Herald control on over. Toma went back to base, so more than likely I would assume that EG Prodigy's team shouldn't be looking to contest this. This, of course, just going to say hi to Poom, say hi to his fellow animal.
Yeah.
Poom is riding.
Yo, everybody's here again.
I don't know if EG Prodigy want this. We're down to 2K, so 100 Thieves should be looking to take this for themselves, and they do. So they are going to back away, unless each project want to go for a punish on Kenvi. Skylar Week is going to be used, but it is going to get whiffed because of Kenvi flashing away. Does mean, though, that flash is going to be gone for this dragon.
Yeah, 40 seconds left, 30 seconds left. This is big, right? 40 seconds is your last time in order to get your back in and be at this dragon on time for the spawn, right? And we're seeing that the members of 100 Thieves aren't really backing. I'm not sure how much gold they're actually going to be sitting on at this spot, but it looks like interestingly enough, they're opting to make the gold play rather than the objective play. They want to pick up this turret, they want to get the gold in their pockets, and in exchange, give over priority on this dragon to the members of EGP. But once again, we said, what were they saying? 100 Thieves are so good at making this cross map.
Look at Sardi, he's trying to go on to Luger. Luger's going to kill her instant away. This is a 2 versus 3 right now. Sardi's doing a lot of damage on the squad of Kenvi as Kenvi gets taken down with Aspect with the Scout of the Week. Boom, has to get back on the horsey, make sure that he's riding the carousel, it's safety, and he will do so.
All right, excuse me. It looks like EGP are looking to be pretty good at the cross map at this point. They expect 100 Thieves to be going for this play, and they punish them for it while still hitting the dragon. Tenacity walking over. Oh, no. Okay.
I was going to say, Tenacity, you about to try to be like Kenvi and try and make a heist, but now Tenacity in the back of one. Can he take down Shiro? He does! That's not a heist, but you're going to take away his life. That's definitely a way to answer back if I'm 100 Thieves. Now, Miss is going to be the one trying to see if he can make out alive. Demonte going to take him out with the laser that he has. Tomia running away. They definitely get the dragon, Josh, but Tenacity stole Shiro's life.
Oh, man. Well, this is crazy. This entire game, just like seeing how even these guys are is... Like, this is what we were expecting. This is the kind of gameplay. Yeah. I mean,
good League of Legends.
Yeah, this is exciting. Just like watching 100 Thieves go through and challenge EGP, and EGP challenging them right back. Even here, Demonte, his back gets stopped. I don't think he needed to necessarily to back, so they don't do a whole lot other than get a little bit of damage down. But they are willing to nickel and dime each other all over the map in ways that we did not see in Game 1.
That's where I enjoy confidence and skill expression, you know? Of course, the safe way is to back up, but if you can call them out, if you can skill check them, if you know what they're going to do, like what Tenacity did to Shiro, it works out at the end, and that's where I enjoy watching players test themselves in situations where they are confident in. And this is where the dragon comes through. Of course, Shiro takes it, but Tenacity, he flexed on Shiro, and it definitely showed.
Yeah, I mean, Tomio, he was speculating about a gank in the mid lane and runs off and makes it a bit closer than we were expecting it to be, but this is, again, why we were not excited about this pick previously.
Sorry, in a 1 versus 3, Luger already dropped down low. Sorry, you're going to take him down. He's already on a rampage. Gets healed up. Aspect here to back himself up, but Kenvi can go down. Tenacity's going to slam his paws on top of the monkey, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 for both top laners as they both pick up a kill.
Ooh. Okay, Demonte's going to have to walk out here, taking turret shots.
Should be okay. Tomio coming back in. He's actually going to trample on top of him. Demonte caught out of left field. Unfortunately, EG Prodigies do get one back in, so it's going to be good for them.
Yeah, alright. EGP got play. They still got a lot of play in them. It was a little bit sloppy from 100 Thieves, and EGP do a good job punishing. I'm a little bit curious as to how that fight actually started, but Tomio... Okay, he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah.
Calm down, everyone.
We
thought they were coming close.
Like, all these little things is getting so nervous because we just don't know when they want to go in, right? It's where usually you kind of look at players and when they want to flex and they want to go in, because Tenacity, of course, goes in EG Prodigies. They're not afraid of going in. That's why we kind of get nervous sometimes.
Yeah. And this is also surprising, too, right? You look at the difference. We noted that there was not a large CS differential in the mid lane previously between Aspect and Demonte. But, Luger...
Look at this. Yeah.
That's bold. That's very bold.
Yeah.
Coming out from Luger. Just saying he thinks he's strong enough to just be the tank in this whole situation. And you get a lot of people down here. So, it's okay. But the big thing is Demonte ends up walking the unsafe way, right? That's not where you get your groceries.
Illegal.
Gotta go around.
Yep, can't be moving that way.
Sorry.
But so far, even then, only a near 1,000 gold lead that's favoring 100 Thieves. On the other side, they have a kill on top of their end. It's legit neck and neck, man. This is where I enjoy it. Dragon's coming up in the next minute 30, though. Josh and Baron, of course, starting on table, but I don't think one of these teams is going to be looking to fight that right now. I think this Dragon's going to be a big pivotal point for one of these teams to get that advantage.
Yeah. It's worth noting, comparing Kenvi from this game to Kenvi from game 1, right? The difference, huge.
Changes.
0, 3, and 4 at this point. He was a massive tank and a huge problem last game. This time, you know, he's reasonably strong, right? He's still farming quite well for a jungler. He's able to be part of these fights and does always have that guaranteed utility in his stuns, but he's not going to have the same kind of durability. He's not going to have the same kind of damage as we saw previously, and instead we got to look to members like Tenacity and Damonte to have a larger role in this game than we saw in game 1.
Speaking of Tenacity too, of course he's looking like the big Papa Bear. Kennedy's looking like the small little teddy bear, but he loves building this itemization, Frostfire, Black Cleaver, and the Ionian Boots. The city just to get more cooldown for himself. This is what allows him to actually duke it out against 30. But he always opts for this build. 9 times out of 10, I never see him build something entirely different.
Well, they're giving him the choke.
Oh.
What we were saying about Syndra last game,
Yep.
Syndra is insane at controlling a lot of these chokes. You get stuns across multiple members, and 100 Thieves, I praised them for their slow positional play previously. Now, they're starting to look for some of these flanks, but they are not playing together just quite yet, and the Dragon only a couple of seconds away.
Tenacity want to tackle Sturdy on
Can
move
we?
2, but unfortunately missing it. 100 Thieves are definitely getting choked out. Dragon's already on the table, Josh.
It is, but no one's hitting it just quite yet. And 100 Thieves are maneuvering, right? They are asking EGP the questions like, what do you want to do with this dragon? Unfortunately, 100 Thieves don't have the information to actually walk in here and wisely walk away because they know that they can't walk through any of these blind bushes due to Syndra that is undoubtedly standing behind one of them. So, 100 Thieves, at least they're going to be getting something on the map. They trade the time hitting the dragon for time farming everywhere else. But 2 Mountain Dragons going over to EGP suddenly makes Surdy and Tomio and Mist way harder to kill.
Oh, and we're going to have another bear versus animal kind of action. Teleport's coming in. Sturdy's going to activate the Cyclone. Smash comes through, but Sturdy's still relatively healthy. Damonte is here for the backup as he can tame both bears coming through. But Sturdy's going to fall down. Kenvi not going to fall down to the turret, unfortunately, as Damonte changes up with the numbers advantage.
All right. Okay. So they're still getting a little bit back, right? There's still a lot of play left in this game. They trade the dragon. They use the fact that Damonte is on the other side of the map to kind of bait the members of EGP into a false sense of security. They thought that they could go for this fight, but once again, just a trap coming out from the 100 Thieves. And as the gold lead is still pretty small, right? It's just about 1,500 gold. The game still hanging in the balance as this victor scales up.
And that's legit nothing, man. 1.5k at this point is, you know, just some components that just makes a little bit of a difference. And, you know, I don't think in this game components is going to change a lot, Josh. It's about that execution like what happened in game 1. Of course, we need to see Shiro if he can execute. He's been one of the main people that is unable to activate that Infernal Trigger. Of course, he still can find those openings if he becomes patient and disciplined on when he wants to get it.
Now the question is, well, where do they fight next? Is it just around these dragons? Is that what these teams want to prioritize? They just want to start playing around the Baron? Or do they want to start taking a lot of these turrets, right? Because there's a much better opportunity for both these teams to actually line up in Siege than we saw previously. Victor does a lot better job at this than we saw like the Orianna previously. You can actually be aggressive and look to poke people down.
The one thing I will say though, Josh, is that these teams, they haven't really played for blowing summoner spells or blowing resources outside of the early landing. And that's something that, you know, both these teams are more defensive of. We don't really see whom going for some heavy engages using Magnetic Storm to blow Shiro's flash, you know, or on other side lanes. So that's one thing that I wonder if one of these teams is going to pick up, of blowing spells before big fights were to come through. We just haven't seen that yet.
I think that's scary, though.
That is,
like,
yeah. Big
in,
risk.
In this game specifically, it's kind of scary, right? Because it's the kind of game where both these teams are hard to determine if they're going to be just like skirmishing a little bit, like is there actually only one person, or are they going to teleport their entire team here and suddenly it's actually a 5v5 that you weren't ready for. You just thought you made one small pick, and I think that's kind of a big reason why we're not seeing that as much, as we are kind of stalling out, right? We're in that bit of a lull state for this League of Legends game, and we're going to start getting a little bit more fighting as this next dragon spawns in about 2 minutes, because neither team, you're seeing 100 Thieves starting to consider going for the Baron, but it's not like high on the docket yet.
That's why I enjoy it though, because both these teams are 100% down calling each other's bluff. That's why we don't see them, you know, play for summoner spells and blowing those resources. Like you said, man, You know, if you jump on me, I might just call my backup, call my homies to support me, and vice versa. If I jump on you, you might call some friends up too. It's pretty much a touch and go.
Yeah, don't mess with me and my boys.
Yeah, that's what both these teams are saying, man. You got hashtag Live Evil Squad versus the hashtag Heist Squad. Who's to say who's gonna win?
We'll see. Demonte doesn't have teleport. Aspect up in the top lane. All right, you know, both teams is going to be backing away. Again, they're just kind of testing each other. Just see, like, how many people are actually here. Oh, okay, I see your jungler is also here. All right, I'm going to back off. Don't want to make any unnecessarily risky plays. And it's just interesting. I wonder, right, you know, there are a lot of people who talk about the ability to freeze in these longer lanes. And this is a spot where you got to be very cognizant of the choice that you're making. If you push it out, you can get priority and actually get to the dragon, you know, on time, but you're going to let your opponents get there early, and you're trading a little bit of tempo for a little bit more gold. And if it gets you a breakpoint, it can be worth it. But look at this, 100 Thieves, 50 seconds out, bring all of their members to bear first. Now what do they do with it?
Definitely want to fight over this mid lane, Josh. See all of them. Want to play some ARAMs coming in. Mid probably is definitely a valuable thing, though, for both these teams.
Yeah. I say this a lot. Tempo is a currency. You don't win by having tempo. You win by having tempo and doing something with it, as we see Tenacity getting caught out by multiple members.
Yeah, but he a big bear. The second bear's coming in. Teddy Bear's trying to come through. See if he
my
can
boys.
the monkey. But then look at Sturdy. This is what we talked about. 100 Thieves already down to back up the fellow homies. Luger's going to pop down to take down Sturdy. And now we look at EG Prodigies. They have to back away. Miss is going to be the sacrificial cow on the squad. Kevy goes golden at just the right time. Is he going to make it out alive? He does. He flushes away. He gets the heck out of dodge. Miss falls down away. We look at Tomio. He has to gallop his way out there. Sturdy's going to go through with the Inferno Trigger, but unfortunately falls down because he gets stopped in his traps. Aspect has to waddle away. He got some balls, but look at Tenacity, look at Demonte. They flashing forward. He's going to see if he can try to slam everything down. They are running through, but they may have overextended Aspect. Throwing some balls back. But again, EG Prodigies, they're going to lick their wounds and back off.
And look at this. 100 Thieves are going to reward themselves by bringing more boys to the yard, by also picking up the Mountain Dragon. They've been trying to get this for a long time, and finally actually going to secure this objective for themselves.
Oh, no.
Teleport. Whoa, maybe they don't.
They want to come back with a counterattack. Sturdy's already here. Aspect is going to get taken down, but I'm not too sure if this is what EG Prodigies want to go for. Sturdy, you were in a 1 versus 4 revenge story, but I don't know if you could take down the rest. Tommy here to back up as he is on his left. Unfortunately, Sturdy's going to fall down, and he's going to be taken down as 100 Thieves. They're going to be taking some more kills.
That was bizarre. That was really weird, Will. Like, the only way that makes sense in my mind is if they don't know that Kenvi has already started hitting the dragon. They think if they get here now and stop them and stall them, they buy time for other people to respawn. But 100 Thieves one step ahead. Kenvi didn't respawn. He's Udyr. He's got a lot of extra sustain built into his kit, but we see the exact thing that we were talking about earlier. You can't go for these skirmishes without knowing that they're going to end quickly because of how long it takes to kill all of these frontliners, right? Tenacity, Kenvi, still alive after all of this, and this is the last thing, right? That's the last time that they see Kenvi walking off. They think he's backing. Surely he's going home. He's so low, he doesn't have any HP. Instead, he just runs over to the dragon because he has the confidence to make sure that he's not going to die to the jungle king.
It's so tough, and this is what I talked about, man. Both these teams, they love swinging. Discipline is a big thing, and I think we saw that lack of discipline from Sturdy and from Aspect and from Tomio. Trying to go for it. It looks like they may have found a catch. Tenacity, he's going to be the one who gets taken down. Finally, they tackle him, and that's a big bear. This might trigger EG Prodigy to start the Baron, and they are, Josh.
They used a lot of resources for that. I don't know if they still win this team fight. Demonte can come up. He's got his teleport, but what do they want to actually do? 100 Thieves, they're now going to commit to go for this team fight. And remember, no ultimates on Syndra, Hecarim, or Surdy.
4, 3, and be over the wall.
Don't do it,
Kenvi. Starts the fight. You want to see if you can go for another steal, but they're pausing at 2,000. Real smart from EG Prodigies. They're going to jump on the wall. 1,000 left, and looks at that. EG Prodigies finally take the Baron in. 100 Thieves, do they want to continue? Boom goes in on all 3, goes for a magnetic storm, gets a good stun. EG Prodigies, they have to run away again every time they fight these neutrals, and they take it. They're losing on the back end, Josh, as more members on Prodigies are falling down. Luger going to fight a 1 versus 1 against Sturdy. He does take down the monkey, but only one person left on the Baron is only going to be Tomio.
Oh man, they can't keep getting away with this, Will. That's another time that they
stealing,
go in.
man.
Kenvy's so close. He got hit by the blast cone, but it wasn't enough to get him over the wall. I think that's the only thing that prevented yet another instance of Kenvy finding a smite victory up against his opponent. And even though they grabbed the Baron for themselves, they go net neutral in gold so far because they're trading over multiple turrets, giving over 4 kills for tenacity, I guess you can include in that whole sequence of plays, and this is where 100 Thieves are starting to make their mark.
You look at EG Prodigy, man, they know that Kenvy could steal these things, and you saw the discipline that they had on that Baron. You know, they left it at 2,000 HP, which is usually optimal when it comes to stalling that Baron steal. But my God, so much patience, and they recognize that this is where teams start recognizing tendencies and start recognizing what the opponent is good at. Nasty stole 3 things away from Tomio. If you don't want to lose this big one again, and you just pay attention to all these things that are happening.
And it's important to watch how Mist actually plays this. He channels the Hex Flash in order to get it over. Normally, you just do this to hit the Blast Cone, but he thought he could headbutt Kenvy away. And look at that, like, I don't even know how he got caught on the wall in that situation, right? That's how close this whole situation became. But Luger is strong, Belmonte is strong. They couldn't get onto the back line, and it takes too long to kill all of these tanks that both teams are bringing together. You need to be able to establish battle lines, and Luger strong enough at this point to overpower Surdy's Wukong while the monkey has no ultimate.
But I'm enjoying what EG Prodigy is going for, man. From the time we saw them when they came in through amateur to now, these guys have evolved a lot. And even though they're on a little bit off the back and against 100 Thieves, you can just see the decision-making that is coming through and the adaptations that they're going for. And these guys are raw. These guys are young. These guys want to show up on the world to take some names. Guys, I don't know, man. I think EG Prodigies, they've already taken some names right now.
Yeah. I mean, the initial parts of the game, right, we can credit pretty heavily to the coaching staff. 100 Thieves Academy have been having a fantastic early set of plans, right? They know what they're doing for the first couple of minutes, a little bit better than EGP, but at this point, you know, this is not a situation where we can talk about the differences between amateur and academy in terms of any kind of resources that they might be giving to the teams. At this point, it is just 100 Thieves players having better instincts, knowing how to move on the map a little bit better, and that experience paying off as they're setting up now for the Mountain Soul.
Boom's going to push out Surdy away from the bottom quadrant. But, that Chaos Storm actually knocking Mist down real low. That actually might be it, Josh.
Yeah.
Mist has to walk away, and EG Project, I think they recognize that they don't have the ability to fight this Mountain Dragon, so unfortunately they have to give this solo point away.
And that's big, once again, right? It's kind of touching on what you were talking about, trading and making these fights in order to pick up summoner spells. You can do it just to chunk out your opponents. Belmonte, never at risk through that entire sequence, was able to get space, was able to chunk out a single member, and even though Mist didn't die, he has to leave. And that's still a 5v4.
Yep. Good recognition from both these teams, you know. EG Prodigies recognize that they can't go in that fight, otherwise they are going to lose. But back to the other point, Josh. And now EG Prodigies, they have better tools compared to game 1 and now looking at this game 2 where they can contest. They have the ability to actually try and take this. One X factor that has been coming up in this game, though, is Kenvy with them smites, man. He's been clutching these steals so much.
True. Yeah, I mean, the one other thing that I do want to highlight is we keep pumping up Shiro as this big player, as a really good Samira, and typically we think it's a justified pick. He's able to find all of these pop-offs, get a couple of quadra kills here and there. I think he got a pentakill at least once during this entire circuit, but the big thing here is he's 0-4-0. He's basically invisible in this game, and I'm worried that even with such a standout performance from players like Surdy and Tomio in this game, if you're just kind of missing your AD carry, it's not going to matter if you're just playing a 4v5 in this game. And I'm not saying Shiro's playing poorly, right? I'm just asking, you know, do you want to be picking the Samira as early in the draft as you have been and forcing yourself to play this style while your opponents are still so adaptable?
I mean, they picked Volibear, they picked Udyr, they picked Belmonte, champions that can, you know, basically stop that
my
from
favorite champion.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was looking at the name, man. They picked Victor. Apologies, you know. But yeah, you're right, man. Shiro, it's pretty tough for him to go in. He has the items to do so. I was getting him stopped. Whoa, Tomio! All right, he's going to go in. This is where
Okay.
EG Prodigy's going to pull the trigger onto a numbers advantage. Might be catching these off guard, but they are ready to slug it out. You take a look at everyone else. Literally no one with low health bars until Shiro comes in on the backside. Yeah, see if he can take a go. Inferno Trigger's going to be activated to make sure he stays alive, but we look at everyone else on the board. Tomio's gone, Aspect's gone, Shiro's had to see if he can make it through. Luger's still perfectly healthy at the back end. Off of EG Prodigy's going in, Quadra comes out big. I don't know if Luger actually wants this pentakill as 30 is on the back end. When you take a look though, EG Prodigy's, they pulled that trigger first, and they bit the bullet.
Oh man, the power of Zhonya's is so good, dude. Watching DeMonte stay alive through that entire thing. It's one of the things about like these big beefy guys that are hard to pick. They are hard to pick because they are hard to kill, but they are also hard to pick with because they don't have the damage to do it.
Yep.
We saw DeMonte live for just so long in that entire fight. Mountain Soul a little bit helpful, but at the end of the day, 100 Thieves just moving around the map a little bit better, picking their fights a little bit better, and that small difference between these two teams that play so similarly is compounded so much in Game 2.
Definitely a better game from EG Prodigies, and they were holding their own for a very long time, Josh. Again, it's just those small little things, small little decisions that kind of swing everything back to 100 Thieves, and I think we saw the breaking point at the end where EG Prodigies, where they brought Surdy back in with a teleport, they brought Aspect back in. I think that just may have been the tipping point for EG Prodigies when it just came to harnessing that patience. Because we take a look at that fight, they should have backed off, but they were like, "Nah, man, we want that dragon," and unfortunately, they lost a lot of it from that.
Yeah, it's definitely a spot where we're looking at EG Prodigies and we're asking them, how are you going to be winning this game? You need to be able to make plays. They tried to do it a little bit in Game 1, but unfortunately, most of the proactive things they tried to do were cut off by 100 Thieves playing the macro game and outplaying some of these smaller things. Here, we saw them try and do something similarly where they wanted to make proactive plays. They had a super strong Hecarim, but weren't able to capitalize. They weren't able to transform that lead into a larger one. And so, EGP backs up against the wall. Do they want to run back a similar draft for the third game in the row, or are they going to be changing it up?
Sometimes, Josh, too much MSG can actually ruin the dish. So I'm wondering what EGP wants to do, man. I don't know if they want more MSG. Maybe you want some other kind of flavor components coming into Game 3. And maybe
Give some Sriracha.
Maybe they want to throw some Sriracha in, throw some spice into that mixture because it is Game 3. We'll see what happens. Get that Sriracha, get that hot sauce coming in, dabble some on that popcorn that I said in Game 1, and we'll see what happens, guys. We'll be right back.